on what's happening on the eastern side of our country. That's also raised huge security concerns in Bharat. Bangladesh has actually finalized a significant defense agreement with China to establish a state-of-the-art facility to manufacture advanced drones. Chinese-backed drones will now be seen at the chicken's neck in that region. Hostile drones in the sky near Siliguri is a possibility in the near future. Chinese UAV footprint near the chicken's neck is what we are reporting. We are given to understand because Bangladesh has finalized a significant defense agreement with China to establish state-of-the-art facility on the manufacture of advanced drones. And this government-to-government G2G deal signed between Bangladesh Air Force BAF and the state-owned China Electronics Technology Group Corporation aims to have the drone plant operational in the Bogra region by late 2026. It will be a full technology transfer from CETC to the BAF, marking a shift from mere procurement to domestic production. The drone factory to impact the Siliguri corridor, that's the big question. That's because you will have the MALE and the VTOL drones that can loiter for about 24 to 48 hours. That's what's going to be manufactured. The drones can do troop mapping quietly, watch rail lines, convoys and air defense patterns. Data gathered in Bangladesh can also be shared with Beijing, which is a no-brainer. They are obviously going to tap into that data and not just see positions but also detect patterns. Prepare China to pressure or disrupt the corridor in a crisis situation, and strategic pressure to force Bharat into investing into counter-drone grids. Let's get in our guests and try and understand from them their thoughts because there is a lot of activity at the chicken neck. Local politicians are also opposing setting up of a base in that Kishanganj region to try and further monitor the chicken neck. There is a big thrust towards the northeast and also modernization of our military equipment and our capabilities in the budget. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra and Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, your thoughts. General Pandey.
Yeah, so firstly, one challenge which Chinese had with launching their UAVs was the distance and the elevation from where they used to launch. So when you launch from a higher elevation at about 11,000, 12,000 from the plateau area, the all-up weight or the weight which they could carry and the distances because the restriction of fuel they could carry and the loiter time used to be restrictive. So while they had an access from the Doklam region to be able to watch the chicken's neck area and the area around. But then now with this development, it allows them a closer watch, longer overflight or longer stamina to fly in the air to carry out observation in the region. And of course, the capacity and seeing the nature of Bangladesh to allow a nation to use a territory for geopolitical reasons is quite evident that in the south you are allowing Americans to use St. Martin Island, in the north you are using the Chinese to come out and play funny with us. So it's a security challenge. It is surely concerning, and I think for last some time our armed forces were looking at it quite seriously. And they have been taking certain measures, which possibly one not like to discuss. But yes, I think some measures are being taken to ensure. Yes, investment in counter-drone measures and was, I think, long overdue. More importantly, the moment you start seeing the shift of Bangladesh, it was imperative that don't have to look only onto the Chinese and to the Western front. You need to start looking also at very intimately onto the Bangladesh border. But what is very keen and to observe is that on one side of the border to the Bangladesh, they are willingly giving space to Chinese, to our enemy.
Yeah.
On our side, there is a challenge to acquire land. I think something needs to be done about it and talked about it in this facet, and we should invest enough money on the infrastructure to develop efficient counter-drone systems, and not only counter-drone systems, all sort of systems to be able to ensure that the non-kinetic warfare application which could be done in terms of by the Chinese from this territory and joining from the Chicken Nuts area is could be taken care of.
Now, this is also a diplomatic, complex Sudoku-like situation or a crossword or a puzzle, if you were to say, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, because Bharat has to deal at multiple levels. On the one hand, you have a nation that's pushing illegals into our country, and they are settling in these no man's land and borderlands, and they are really thinning out the chicken's neck because they are spreading. And they're also localizing, naturalizing themselves. That's one part. The other part is they're opening their borders to allow them to spill over into our borders. But on the other hand, they are also allowing other entities to come and set up shop there and to entrench themselves. This is something which is critical. And the other hand, we don't have the kind of friendship that we had with Nepal in the past. Nepal is also, all of their no man's land is now inhabited by non-Nepalis, if I may say that.
Well, for a long time, whenever there were discussions on 71, people used to say, no, this is bad. We should have allowed Pakistan to exist as it was. And I always responded that supposing that was the case, then our neck would be squeezed from both sides. Thank God Bangladesh is there. Now I'm wondering whether I can still have that argument against those who were talking about why 71. Because Bangladesh has now made its intentions clear, and made its intentions clear when you have an illegitimate government in power in Bangladesh. Yunus has no authority to enter into an agreement like this with China or anyone else, or to invite Pakistani ISI and its generals and its Islamic parties to come and investigate as to how best they can offer pinpricks to India, or pushing Rohingyas, not just Bangladesh, but Rohingyas into India. So clearly, he wanted to do all this. He and his cohorts wanted to do all this before the next government is installed, if elections go on smoothly and there's a next government. The second thing, the larger point is, it's not just a drone factory, because drones need also satellite cover to be effective. I'm sure General Pandya would be able to guide us more on this. But that means that Chinese are going to be more actively involved in the entire strategic landscape of that area. The third point is China's overall envelopment of India, because this is one side, the chicken snake here in Siliguri. There's the other chicken snake where there are reports that China has made ingress into the sanctuary area of Bhutan.
Bhutan, we just call out that chicken snake graphic and try and understand as Ambassador Rajiv Dogra is explaining this. Now, can we have this on the screen here, please? Let's not look at the text, but let's understand the map. And these are the two chicken snakes which Ambassador Rajiv Dogra has been talking about. Can we just call it out here? Yeah. Now, one is, viewers, this is the chicken's neck which we have highlighted here, because this is the corridor from Bharat into the northeast, and this is a narrow 22 kilometer thing. Now, if this is cracked, so rest of the northeast gets stuck, we get stuck. But this is another chicken's neck. Now, you see this is another chicken's neck. This sanctuary portion, if the Chinese enter, they are then directly into Bharatiya land, one, and Bhutan then gets cut off from Sikkim. So Sikkim gets surrounded by the Chinese from one side, and then they get in here. Is this the other portion that you were talking about, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra?
Exactly. Now, the problem does not end there. I mean, these two chicken snakes are vital, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
China has spread an entire strategic line in Pakistan, including telecommunications, including satellite links, including active involvement of Chinese troops. At one time, there was supposed to be 5,000 along the line of control. China also has ground tracking stations of Baidu in Karachi and somewhere near Lahore. And that is not all. When I talk of total embrace of India by Chinese strategic assets, there is also much more increased presence in the Indian Ocean. Indian
Right.
Ocean used to be Indian Lake. It is no longer the Indian Lake. And China has a stranglehold through Gwadar on shipping coming into India.
Right.
We don't have any such thing to take note of or to take care of Chinese intentions. So we are surrounded really not just on our neck portion by two chicken snakes, but
Right.
also all around from head to toe.
No, and somewhere I don't know why our the initial governance and leaders did not look at the strategic import of securing these small choke points, which today have become a huge security issue for us. General Pandey, final comment. I have to wind up. These two chicken necks, then that controls the entire northeast. In fact, today, from certain portions of Assam, if we have to fly to Arunachal, we have to fly over Bhutanese airspace, and all of that will stop if the Chinese take control of that small sanctuary area and then they wedge themselves in, because then they'll claim it to be their airspace. Now, that adds to our problems along with this Siliguri corridor. Ji.
So, well, of course, these are challenges which are there, but in the immediate future, I don't think so is a problem. The country or our national security structure should start looking at it, while it has been trying to look at it, and I think the investments which are coming to the defense in terms of modernizing, in terms of taking infrastructure forward, all these things which we are doing is to probably protect, defend our assets, so to make that India Lake back to India may not be immediately possible. That to make it difficult for the Chinese to operate in that region will be only feasible when you start using the Andamans as you're supposed to be using. So, we have long neglected these areas, but the investments have started coming in. Our modernization programs are looking quite intently on these subjects, and the focus which was not there towards, I will rather say the focus was there towards the chicken snake of the northern one which Rajiv ji was talking. But this facet of looking at the chicken snake, which is from the Nepal side and the Bangladesh side, is going to be squeezing, has started beginning to take place in some very, very serious effort. What we need to actually look at the internal, this thing at the political leverages, that we have to tell the people that it cannot happen that you start coming onto the street and saying that Bangladeshis are our own people, and if you start evict them from here, we'll come to the streets. And if you see the nature of the statements, we have to take care of that.
Well, those days are past us, and I think over the last decade that shift has significantly happened, but sooner than later some action needs to be taken. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra and Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, thank you for your time.